This is the final installment of this lesson series with Seafood John Kaufman. Look down below in the description and find his YouTube link and go there, subscribe to him, check him out, support the man. He's amazing and very moving conversation that we had. Um, there's been a lot of times in my Wing Chun that I've exerted great force on objects or people with very little effort. And with the absence of the chi belief system, I didn't always know how I was doing it. And often I was pretty good at it, but I didn't know what I was doing. Therefore, I couldn't necessarily control when and how I was using it. But then at the end of the last video, John helps me realize that this understanding I have about the mind, which I thought is just sort of a crazy idea that I have of how my brain operates when I'm doing things. And John says that's exactly it. And then shivers start going through me, like, ooh, and I had this like moment of realization of like putting it together. You know, it's a beautiful moment for me. So I find this is the last section. It's really the meat on achieving that Nim Tao state, using that animal mind, elongating your muscles, moving with relaxation, using that part of your brain, not the front part of your brain. This is life-changing stuff if you apply it. So do pay attention and enjoy. Thank you. You were talking with the shivers earlier, right?
People, people don't want to hear that
I got the
because,
shivers there a minute ago. I was just like,
yeah, yeah. People don't want to hear that because they naturally use a different way of learning, the knowing, K-N-O-W. So they want to be taught, do this, do that, A through Z, and then I'll get good. Yeah, they'll get good at doing A through Z, but that's not what we're talking about doing.
humans, they substitute order for knowledge.
Yeah, you said it. And hey, Joey only, you'll never be an animal if you don't transcend like you described. It's about finding our animal nature and moving as an animal. I have a cat. You have a cat. I don't know about you, but I'm sure it's the same as for me. I learn more by watching my cat move than any Wing Chun teacher I've ever had.
Oh, yeah.
People don't get it. Okay? So let me say two things to you. Yeah. And two things. The first is no animal has to be taught how to move. No animal has to be taught how to fight. Okay? It's natural. They're always in their natural state, and they always move naturally, whether they're fighting or not. They don't have to K-N-O-W how to get their bodies in a certain way or how to do a technique. No animal has to be taught that. The second thing I want to say is people, when they talk about animals and learning from animals, what do? They copy the animal's movement.
Yeah.
So you get the Shaolin or the tiger style, the dragon style, the fucking snake style, whatever it might be. I don't give a shit.
Oh,
That ain't it, man. We are
Yeah.
not fucking tigers. We are not bears. We are not monkeys. We are not snakes. We're human beings. So we need to move as a human being in a
Okay,
natural,
Mark.
animal-like way. Human being is an animal. We have to move as a human animal. Okay? And to do that, we have to take ourselves out of the fight or flight state. We have to transcend fear. We have to transcend what if, or I don't want to get hurt, or even I want to hurt somebody. It's just pure animal. And that is very difficult to do because that is not how we live our day-to-day lives in an animal state, is it? We live our day-to-day lives with the forebrain, with an analytical state. But thousands of years ago, cavemen did not. They were just animals in human form. None of them had to be taught how to fight. None of them had to be taught anything. Okay? But we are not cavemen anymore, and we don't live our lives that way. We sit on computers all day. Well, you don't. You go out in nature, and you have to deal with life and death situations.
I do both.
So yeah,
I spend days on computers too.
but you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. You have more
Certainly,
experience.
certainly, I have the experience where I might go through a week here of I talk to Norma at the corner store when I get my coffee in the morning, and that's my human contact for the week until my kids show up.
Yeah, and you put yourself in situations where, in order to survive, you sort of have to naturally result in that transcendence you spoke of, that way of using your mind.
Well, if I'm mountaineering and I fuck up and I'm alone, that's it.
Yes, that's what I'm
You
trying
know,
to
so
say. Okay.
and been an only child that grew up in the wilderness. So I've spent a lot of my time alone out there. I can't make a
Okay,
mistake.
so
There's no
so
room for error in that
right.
situation, right?
Yeah, so you have a leg up on all the rest of us because we never we weren't in situations where we had to use our minds that way to survive, like you had to, like you have to sometimes still.
And now when I
So,
have to work a normal job, I can't handle it.
okay,
It's so
yeah, okay.
tedious and human and, you know, cross the T's and dot the I's and here's our policies for that. And just, humans.
So here's what I want to
I
tell you.
struggle with them.
Listen. It's not for me to tell anybody, whether it's you or somebody else, what to do or how to do your martial training. Um, but I'm talking to you, so I'm going to tell you, and you're going to do whatever the fuck you do anyway. Okay,
I'm
fair
probably going to
enough.
do what you tell me.
I tell you, stop looking at videos. Stop. Although we all do it. It's normal, it's natural, and I understand the reason why, and I don't blame anybody for doing it. I spent my whole martial art life doing it too. Okay. But my best advice is stop looking at videos, stop watching what other people do, stop at least at this stage. Okay. Stop looking at what other people do, stop listening to their instructions or what they suggest is important, or their verbalizations of chi or methods or anything else. Um, and when you do your Sunam Tao or any other martial practice you do, whether it's within Wing Chun or without a Wing Chun, whatever. And by whatever, I mean it literally. Anything, everything, whatever you do. The only thing you should be doing when you do your practice, your physical motions, whatever you're doing, sparring with other people, whatever it is, I don't care what it is. Everything. I mean, everything means everything. Whatever it is. The only thing you should really be doing is whatever it is you're doing, do it in that transcendent state. That's all that counts. It doesn't count what result you get. It doesn't matter what result you get. It doesn't matter whether you think you're right or wrong. Nothing matters but your consistent practice of trying to achieve and maintain that transcendent state when you're doing whatever it is you're doing. Nothing else counts. So because of that, it no longer matters that you follow somebody else, that you learn what they're doing and know about it, KNOW, and try to do it correctly. Okay? None of that matters anymore. It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is you, your mind, your body. Nothing else is important. In that way, your martial activity becomes yours. It becomes you. Not everybody says that, Joey, only. Okay. Everybody says you must make your martial art your own. Yes, but nobody's doing it because what they're actually doing, whether they realize it, which they probably don't or not, is they're simply copying what their teacher's teaching them or what Joe Schmo does on his video on YouTube or their own understanding of what Joe Schmo is doing. Okay. And they're trying to quote unquote make it their own by doing it their way, but that's what they're still doing. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's never really about them. It's about some other method, and they're trying to get good at that method so that they can quote create with it, and make it their own. But it's at the end of the day, it's still not them as an animal, a human animal. It's them, doing this method as properly as they can. You understand?
Yep. The
But
way
if you're
they're
doing,
supposed to do it.
yes, exactly. If you do what I'm talking about, you forget all that other stuff and you just make that transcendent state what's important, your sole priority when you move. Then everything you do is automatically and naturally a result of you. It's a reflection of you. You are yourself. Okay. And that's a beautiful thing because that's something you can own. That's something real. And at the end of the day, that's what we want is something real, not just copy what, Sifu so-and-so is doing, but something real. Okay. Because if it's not real, you don't have a very good chance of making it work in the real world. That's why people that are really good, I mean, by what I mean by that is they can use it, practically speaking. They can fight. They can defend themselves. They can hurt somebody. They can they can deal with situations. Okay, those people they get in a fight and it's over, and they're standing and the other guy isn't, and somebody's watched the whole thing, and they say to them, "What the fuck? How did you do that?" And they always say the same thing. I don't know. I just moved. Why? Why? Because they are fully themselves. They're not performing Wing Chun.
Yeah,
They
the
are
untrained
Wing
people are
Chun.
sometimes so dangerous that way because they just
Yes,
act.
yes. If the untrained person, when they act, that action is a natural reflection of what's in their mind, then they're dangerous. Yes, they're effective. But you can take most untrained people, and they're not effective because they're trying to do stuff.
Yeah.
So there's a saying that I heard a long time ago, which I liked a lot, which is, of course, the same thing we're talking about right now. Guy said, "When I get in a fight, I shouldn't be trying to do Wing Chun. I should just fight. My Wing Chun can come out, but I'm not trying to do Wing Chun. I'm just fighting." So that's what we're talking about. So if you want to get good, my best advice is, and and I'm saying it to you because you know this mental state already. Most people do not. Okay. But you already know this. So for you, my advice is in everything you do in your in training and activity now, your only priority should be that mental state and let everything else just happen by itself.
Yeah.
For other people who don't know how to get into and use that mental state yet, I would say at this point, start with the eccentric muscle condition. So let's say you're doing your tonsil. It could be anything, but just as one example. So you put your hand here because you're about to do the motion, right? Before you actually move, evaluate the condition of your muscles. It might help to tense them. Use the concentric muscle state first. Tense them. Make your arm real stiff in
Yeah.
that position. And now try to change it into eccentric muscle condition. So how to do that? This is what, just bear with me for a second more. This is what I mean when I say in my Kung Fu, there is no N-O how to. Because I can tell you, now elongate your muscles. And you're going to say to me, okay, how do I do that? And you know what I'm going to say? I don't fucking know. Okay. There is no how to. Okay. The only thing I can tell you is tell yourself that you already know how to do it and do it. So pretend you already know how and now do it. That quote, do it, is your brain giving a signal to those muscles to elongate. They can't elongate if they don't release. So they'll do it by itself. That's the mind-body connection. Okay. So if you practice that, you get to a point where you just think eccentric, or you just think elongate, or you just think release. Okay. And the state of the muscles will immediately achieve that condition. And now, moving against resistance, you must continue the idea of release as you move. You don't let your mind go where it normally wants to, where, oh no, he's stopping me. Oh no, he might be stronger than I am. Oh no, I want to be able to move against this force that I'm experiencing, this resistance. No, your mind has to stay in release and only release and just continue to
This
move.
thing is bugging me. Ding, ding, ding.
Okay.
I'm like trying to have profound moment here. My phone's dinging.
So there you are. Okay. That 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 is the essence of the Shantan methodology. And most of the students just never get it because they're stuck with the how to, knowing how to. How am I supposed to release my shoulder? How am I supposed to release my elbow joint? How am I supposed to do this motion properly? How am I supposed to use my center of mass? This is what I want to tell you, and this can be our final thing for today. And I'm happy to do this with you whenever you want to, because you can already tell I enjoy it very much. Okay.
I really enjoy it.
I don't care if you're learning the Shantan method or anything else. If you're his students and you're learning, try to learn his way of doing it, but you're still stuck with the how to, the knowing, you're never going to get there. Because everything you do is going to be limited by trying to figure out what's the right way to do something. What am I supposed to do? You're still going to be in that paradigm, what I call the knowing, Knowing paradigm. And that is making an effort to be correct, right?
Yeah.
And that very effort is going to automatically result in some muscle tension. So if you tell yourself, go to your shoulder and relax it, the very act of going to your shoulder,
You get to think about it.
Yeah, that thinking is going to, some muscle in that area is going to tense up even a little bit so that you have something to feel, to evaluate. It's not intentional, but that's what's going to happen. The only way to really release is to transcend that, quote, going to the shoulder. So you don't think about it at all. That's why when I teach people, oftentimes I'll tell them, let's say you put your arm in the air somewhere, I don't care where. And now I'll say, instead of trying to evaluate whether there's tension, and if so, how to relax it, et cetera, just pretend you're already perfect. There is nothing to do. There is nothing to change. Just accept the fact that you're already perfect. And to the degree to which your mind can do that, you'll feel immediately everything just lets go by itself. That's the release. That's the eccentric condition of the muscles. Now you have to then practice doing the motions of the form without coming out of that transcendence, that condition of the muscle. That's why you do it slowly. Because if you start going fast, you'll start automatically using some muscle tension, some concentric muscle activity will creep in. So you have to do it very slowly. Now, after enough practice, where you can maintain that condition of eccentric muscle as you go through the form consistently, where as you're moving, you can see what I'm doing, and someone comes up to you and starts to try to stop you, the degree to which you can maintain that eccentric condition as you continue the external motion, they won't be able to stop you, and their effort to try you'll be yanking their body around like a puppet as they're resisting you. But you won't feel anything. You won't feel any strength. you'll just see the effect it's having. And someone says, well, what did you do? How did you do that? I'm just moving. I just continued my motion. But the fact is, you maintain that eccentric muscle condition as you continued that motion. And that's why it had that powerful effect on your partner. So it's all about transcendence. At the end of the day, just like meditation, it's all about transcendence.
What's funny about the no and the KNOW and the NO is that I had to realize that I already knew how not to know.
Yes, yeah, thank
Because
you.
the mind trip I just went through in the last half hour.
I'm with you, man. You're 100% correct. That's right. These are the valuable light bulb moments, in my opinion. What you just said to me is a very valuable insight that you have. And because you can, for yourself, not because I say it, but because for yourself, you can differentiate that different path, the knowing versus the no. Okay. And how your mind works for each one of them, what it's like when you're doing either one. So now you simply prioritize the transcendence aspect. And if you need help in doing that, go back to the idea of the eccentric muscle condition.
It'll take some.
You know,
It'll take time.
people always say relax, right?
Yeah.
And in Chu Shantan school, that's the first thing he told everybody to do. And everybody knows we're supposed to relax, etc. And in all of Wing Chun, they're always told to relax. But for most people, that means bleeding out tension. So that means that they soften everything.
Yeah.
Okay. And they don't respond with strength, but with softness. Okay. The problem with that is then they get floppy and they start to collapse when pressure is applied. And therefore, as I said much earlier, they result automatically in one of two things: either getting stiff and hard using strength so they don't collapse and get hit, or run away from the force, which is not helpful either because it doesn't work well. Okay. Because they don't know how to achieve the eccentric condition. That's why. Okay. So if you start with the eccentric condition, practice that ability, then you'll be able to use your body weight as a whole, as I talked about earlier, because the eccentric condition of the muscles will allow you to withstand great force without being affected, and will allow you to issue your own force through body movement or any part of your body movement without being affected by resistance. And that is the essence of the Chu Shantan method.
I was feeling and playing around with some of that too, like trying to send my body mass out and hitting the punching bag through being relaxed. And I was maybe going about this fast and hitting the thing almost as far as I'd hit it if I tried to go fast. Just
Very good.
bam,
Yeah, very good.
that fast. It had almost the same explosive effect on hitting the bag as trying to put my weight, not hit with the hand.
That's what's meant by you hit me with your body, right?
Yeah.
Of course, it's through the palm of the fist or whatever. That's what's making contact. But you know what I mean. You know what the saying means. You hit me with your body, not your hand.
My hand's moving, but it's not where the energy's coming out. It's not. Another thing that Robert was really early on that got me into the idea of it too is there was the floppiness that I do have the tendency of, and I'm probably worse for that than I should be. But one thing I did like that he brought me to early on was he said, now tense your hand and try to punch, right? And he's like,
Right.
now relax and hit it. And
Okay.
just the difference in how that feels and what that is, right?
Yeah,
And
no,
so very, very early
yes.
on with him, I felt like in that relaxed state, all I have to do is send it.
Try to be benefited from what I'm about to tell you. I we all follow the same thing. I mean, none of our experiences are unique. Okay. So what you just described for me, yes, of course, I've had those experiences many times myself over the years, where I know I'm not supposed to use muscle contraction and strength. So I don't tense the hand as you described, and I hit relaxed. And so just like you described, okay, just exactly what you said. But there's a difference between that and doing that while everything is connected. There's a big difference. So I can release everything, whether I think of it as being soft or relaxed or whatever, and I can just let my hand fly out, move my body to fly, to let my hand fly out like you were describing, and that's not wrong. That's better than being tense, in my opinion, yes. But if I'm not connected, if I'm not whole, then when I do that, I'm not really using all my body weight. I'm just using my arm's weight pretty much. So it can still hurt somebody, but it's not as effective. If you start with the eccentric muscle condition, and I didn't say just in the arm, everywhere, all your muscles, every muscle in your body is in that eccentric condition, is elongated. That's what we mean by internal expansion or pung. That's what we mean by opening. Okay? Every muscle is elongated. For years, I used to tell people expand everywhere internally at the same time in all directions. Open, like a flower opening, like the sun shining, whatever. Like the feeling you get when you're having the chills and everything is moving through you at once. It's an opening. It's being more alive. However you fuck you want to describe it. And it's correct factually, but it's either more or less helpful depending on the individual. But now I simply talk about the eccentric muscle condition. Elongate your muscles because it's the same thing. But that's something, I mean, it depends on you, but for me, that's something that I can more easily just do. And when I do it, it has the result of opening, expanding, releasing, sung, whatever the fuck you want to call it. The chi moving in, okay? To me, it's all the same thing. So when I tell myself, when I formulate, of course, in the mind, because where else do you formulate an idea? It's in the mind. When I formulate the idea in my mind of every muscle is in eccentric condition, that will naturally result in the connection I spoke of and accessing my weight as I spoke of it. And then when I have an idea of Tansa, just move. But I'm in that condition when I move. That is the essence of Chu Shantan Wing Chun. And I don't see other people doing it. I could be wrong, but I don't see other people doing this. So sorry if I've blathered on too long. We've been talking for like almost 3 hours now.
I'm very thankful, John. Very thankful. You like got me to a place there where I feel like I need to spend some time reflecting on some of those moments of realization I just had.
Wonderful.
To trust that things I already know, things that I have special qualities about myself. I'm a very left-handed person who's very not left-handed. I can do everything both ways. Both my kids are left-handed. We're just different people. I'm
I'm
an artsy
left-handed.
I'm an artsy fartsy, and so are two of my other very close Wing Chun friends.
I'm
Yeah.
left-handed, and I was an artist. I have a master's degree in fine arts. I used to be a high school art teacher. I painted and sculpted for decades.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. I was an art major, and then I haven't done too much with it. Then I went on the road with my band for 15 years, and
Well,
uh,
say, yeah, you're a musician. You're an artist. Yeah.
and rock and roll was really good to me. And now I'm sober, and I'm being a good dad,
Good for
and
you.
yeah,
Good for
living a
you.
good life. Happy out here. Poverty, but That's okay.
Hey, listen, I was a practicing trial lawyer in Massachusetts in the US for my career, and I was very good at it. And I lived a good life. I had a nice house and belongings and cars and children and a wife and I
All
had a
that
lot took
bullshit.
no, it's not bullshit. I mean, I loved the life. I
Did you?
but my life changed and now I live a completely different life, which I don't complain about. I'm happy, but I live in a very tiny government sponsored apartment in Hong Kong. The whole place is like 200 square feet.
Yeah.
And and I because it's government sponsored, my wife got that qualification. Um, it cost me less than 200 US dollars a month. And I live on my Social Security from the United States. I'm 69 in two
Yeah.
weeks, and my and a annuity that I bought like in 2008, which provides me some income. And so I don't have much, and I don't live the same lifestyle I used to, but I don't care. I chose to do this. Nobody made me do this, and I just do my teaching of Wing Chun and I live my life. I'm a happy guy, and I was happy before too. But um, so I know what it's like. I know what it's like to have money, and I know what it's like not to have money, and this is okay. Um, if I still had a family to raise, and I had those responsibilities, then I would care about making money, and I would choose a life where I could provide better. But I grew up. I mean, I got older and my kids grew up and I didn't have those responsibilities anymore. And I had the option of doing something different. And so that's what I decided to do.
Well, so many people my age, they're tied into mortgages or they're paying rent every month, right?
Yeah.
And so I can afford to be poor. That's the beauty of owning my house.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. Good
Yeah.
for you.
I don't have to, okay, I got to make money for the kids or whatever, but it's like my overhead.
Right.
If I go
Yeah.
through periods, if I decide I don't want to work this winter, I'm just going to ride EI out.
Yeah.
I can handle it. I don't care. I don't can live with less than most people do. And it's worth it to have time and space, peace, and
Peace of mind. Yeah. Peace of mind.
and
Yes.
it's worth it to not get roped into a, a 40-hour a week job that when next fire season comes and British Columbia is ripping on fire, I'm like, oh, I got this new job now.
Right. Right.
Sorry, boss, I can't fight fire anymore. It's like, well, then my life would be fucking boring.
I hear you, man. Yeah. And as I'm sure you would agree, it's not like, well, other people should live the life that you live. I mean, people live whatever their best life is, and it's not going to be the same across the board. For somebody, going to the office every day and working really hard and being tied down to that kind of existence, that's right for them. That's that's good for them. That's what they should be doing. But that's not necessarily right for you or for somebody else.
In fact, if I don't have to even see the city, I'm happy. You live in such a busy place, it's hard to imagine what's going on outside your doors compared to what's
You
going on
know,
outside my
I,
window here.
I hear you, and I'll leave you with this, and then I have to go. And,
Okay.
again, it's like I'm not trying to be some fucking guru wise ass here, but wouldn't it be? Wouldn't isn't the highest level? And if you want to speak in terms of levels, which is bullshit too, but isn't the highest level of being that? Wouldn't it be nice if we could all do this? We could be in the city, or we could be in the mountains, or we could be in the law office, or we could be on the farm. In other words, it doesn't matter where we are or what we do. It's a wonderful life. Okay. Wouldn't Isn't that the epitome? So then it doesn't matter what we choose. It doesn't we're free. That's freedom, man. It doesn't matter because
Yeah.
whatever we do, whatever we choose, we can still choose. We have free will, but whatever we choose, wherever we are, whatever we find ourselves,
It's been a
we're
significant
fu-
part of my
we're,
adult life,
we're fulfilled.
overcoming the trauma of my youth and then getting to a place where I feel free and it's
Yeah.
gone, it's behind, and I'm in
Isn't
control.
At the end of the day, all I'm saying, I think, is that real freedom means that we can be ourselves, we can be fulfilled. In other words, to put it another way, we can be complete wherever we are and whatever we're doing, whatever circumstance we find ourselves in. And I'm including quote unquote negative circumstance. Your girlfriend leaves you. No, if my wife left me, would I not be upset? Of course I fucking would be. I'm human. I said the epitome, okay, would be
Depends
that
which wife.
we yeah we could be fulfilled. Well, I'm not with anybody that I don't love or have a great deal of respect for. Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
I've never been in a relationship with a woman where I thought poorly of them even after the fact. Never. If that was going to be the case, I wouldn't be with them to begin with.
Yeah.
But that's me. But regardless, to me, real enlightenment is what freedom. Freedom is enlightenment. Real freedom is wherever I find myself, I'm fine. Not fine in the sense that I can accept being in a bad way for a period of time until things get better. That's not what I mean by being free, by fine. Fine means truly fine. I'm fine. Okay. In other words, it doesn't matter to me. I'm not working hard at choosing something different because I'm not happy with where I'm at. Wherever I'm at. I'm fine. Now, I didn't say that was easy. I didn't say I can do that. I can't. I didn't say anything except to me, that's the highest level of existence. And wouldn't it be nice if we could do that?
It's always good to point towards what you want. I mean,
Yeah.
it's always a goal to get there, right?
And a lot of it has to do with acceptance. And forgive me for saying it, but isn't that what elongated muscles are? They've accepted being in the moment. Because the natural state is not to contract your muscles. That's a reaction to some external impetus or, tension creating environment. Your natural state is for your muscles to be eccentric or elongated, for you to be open and relaxed. That's your natural state. Isn't that what I'm talking about when I talk about wherever you find yourself, you're fine? Wouldn't that be great? Isn't it the same thing? So all these things are connected.
Thanks so much, John. I'd love to
Hey, you're
talk to you
welcome.
some more.
Thanks for talking to me as well.
You're
And
just so cool, and I got this. It's all recorded, so I could chop it up into vids if you want to put it out there, or we could just keep it between us.
I really don't care what you can do with it, whatever you want to do with it. I completely forgot that we recorded this, or I wouldn't have like blathered on and on for 3 hours like an idiot. But
Well,
be that as it may, you are completely free. Look, if I didn't legitimately believe, rightly or wrongly, in what I'm saying, I wouldn't say it. So if I'm telling you that, I should be willing to stand by it, what I say, and I am. So if you want to use it for any purpose, you're more than welcome to do so. Just
well, I figure
if you do, please credit me with it so people can know about
absolutely,
me. Yeah.
absolutely. That's part of the point, right? Is to
Okay.
get some record of these things more than just the surface. Like I was saying, like earlier, I go to watch a Wing Chun video. And I got to watch because they're doing physical things. So
Uh-huh.
often, I'll put on a history video because I want to hear a history professor lecture about history.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
missing that in the Wing Chun world. Like you can't find
Okay.
that so easily. You can't find stepping past. I we can
Yeah.
argue about does the elbow go here or there.
If you're
Yeah.
using, if you're using, not, I don't, sorry for correcting you at all, but if, I mean, for adding to the conversation, when I know you don't need me to, but if you're using a method that depends on a linear alignment from the head down to the ground, then it matters very much where the elbow is. If you're using the Shantan method, then you're not. Then it doesn't matter. Okay. So, these things that people talk about are true, but only in relation to the method they're using. But of course, it's the same thing for what I'm talking about. The things I'm talking about are true in relation to the Shantan way of doing Wing Chun.
Yeah.
That's all. Yeah.
within every little lineage of Wing Chun, they'll be like, well, it should be this way. No, it should be this way. No, it should be. And if you listen to every one of them, you're going to get 10 different opinions
Yeah.
on where the arm should come out, right? And that's what I mean
Mhm.
by does
Right.
it really matter on the tan shao should be high? No, it should be low. That kind of shit, right?
It matters. It matters if it, look, it's like life, right? It matters if it matters. What do I mean? It matters if it makes a difference in practical usage. So depending on what you're taught there vis-a-vis the lineage you train under, it might matter very much whether tansao is high or it's low. It depends on what method they're using to use their tansao. Okay. One of the things I like about the true Shantan way of doing Wing Chun is if you get good enough at doing what we've been discussing, keeping your muscles elongated, accessing your body weight, moving as a whole, being connected, all that stuff, then those other things don't make a difference anymore. So that frees you up to just be yourself. Okay. I don't have to perform Wing Chun. I could just be John who's moving. Okay. Um, and I like that. I like that way of being. I like that feeling. I like the idea behind it, the philosophy behind it. So that's why I train in this way and try to teach in this way as best I can. Other people, they don't know this because they were never taught it or exposed to it. They learn what they learn, great. They get good at what they learn, great. And they committed to that and they're addicted to that because that's what they know. That's what they have faith in. That's what they can make work for themselves in reality. Great, good for them. I do what I do. Other people do what they do, you know?
Give me 2 weeks. I'm gonna have to digest this for a while. I can tell, like, as soon as I'm out
Yeah.
of the bathroom, I'm gonna be about 6 feet behind me. You know what I mean? For the
That's
rest of
why
the evening.
that's why some of the best ways to train this stuff, and I know you've heard this before, is in your everyday life, how you open a door, how you pick up a glass. Because then,
Absolutely.
if you start to, because you can just tell yourself, elongate your muscles, and then go about your daily life. But in the back of your mind, it's always, are your muscles elongated? Okay. So when I pick up that glass, are my muscles everywhere elongated? And what you'll feel is, oh, now I know what he means by using the body as a whole or moving from the center. Because when all of your muscles are elongated and you pick up the glass, you'll feel it's your whole body doing it, not just the arm or the hand.
Well, I felt it enough times. I just want to be able to do it every time.
Well, right. So if
You know what I mean? Like I
so,
felt
listen,
that enough times. It's like, what was
I
that?
I know you felt it at times. What I'm saying is,
How do I do that?
if you're trying to do that in the context of your Wing Chun practice, then you know subconsciously that you're doing your Wing Chun. So that fact alone is going to make it more difficult to have that transcendence, to keep the muscles elongated. But if you're not doing martial art, but you're just opening the door, but in the back
Yeah.
of your mind, as you open the door, what's in your mind is elongate your muscles. Then you're practicing it more effectively in an everyday setting, and that's going to have a better effect when you do apply it to your Wing Chun motions. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Okay, just a suggestion.
Well, that's the stuff that like I want Wing Chun to be an everyday. It's useful for everything. You know, it's not like this is fighting me and this
Right.
is normal me. Like
Hmm. If you want it to be every day, and I agree with you,
because
then then
the
you
next
need
time I
to.
actually fight somebody, I mean, until my daughter starts dating. You know what I mean? It doesn't happen much in my life, unless I'm playing around with
No,
buddies
why
of
should
mine.
it? Nobody wants. You don't want to get in fights. It's no way to live. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you want, if and I agree with what you just said, I agree 100%. You want it to be in your Wing Chun, your martial activity to be like your everyday life, yes. So think about it. I mean, just realistically, how how are we going to do that? Well, we have to make our everyday life. We have to put into practice in our everyday life what's important in training our martial art. So if what's important is the elongated muscles, etc., we have to use that in our everyday life. And then it will naturally be part of your Wing Chun. And then your Wing Chun will be part of your everyday life and vice versa. There won't be any difference. But you can't just say, oh, I'm going to practice this stuff when I do my Wing Chun. No, it's more helpful to practice it when you do your everyday life than when you do your Wing Chun.
Yeah.
And that's why I made that recommendation.
And Wing Chun is everyday life. Why I didn't slide down the mountain today, you know,
Yeah, yes.
in the snow, because it's it's not my fighting system. It's who I am. It's what I want it to be, my how my body is. I'll let you get going, John.
All right,
And
take care now.
yeah,
Schedule this next time for whenever you want to. I'm very open to continuing this.
I'm very, very glad to hear that.
Okay,
Very glad to hear that. You're a
take
beautiful
care.
man. Have a good night, eh?
You too. Thanks. Take care.
Okay, bye now.